everyone. I hope you're doing well and I hope that you have a marvelous day. I'm here to do a daily card reading on today's energies to see what the cards want to share with us in terms of the universe's messages, insights, and guidance. So let's take a look at the cards. Okay. So we have Night Moon Shadow Work. Yeah, it feels like a lot of shadow work has been coming up lately. And it feels like there are people fighting against it. There are people who are not wanting to do the inner work, that are wanting to, fall back on old ways, old patterns of being, and they like feel like, oh, it worked this way before, so I can just keep doing it, but the old ways aren't working anymore. There's been a lot of change, and also things are speeding up, and so when people are, planting metaphorical seeds in terms of their energy, they're reaping what they sow a whole lot faster. Like, harvest time is kind of instantaneous now. Like, just the other day, my brother, he lives a few hours away from us, and he was calling my mom to, basically taunt and mock that his power came back, but the neighbors didn't. And he was having all this vulgar language and be like, ha 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 ha, ha, I got it, he he he, that's, I'm better than you, look, I got something great and you don't have it, ha 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 ha, kind of thing. And so, yeah, because they've been out of power, I think, for over a day, and it had just come back, so he was all excited. There's nothing wrong with being excited, but it was the other energy that he brought with it. And so he went outside to do work, and then he called my mom back a couple hours later, and he was screaming, no, the power just went out again, ah! And he's freaking out, and he seemed to realize that it might be connected to the energy he was putting out in the world, because the energy you put out in the world comes back to you. And so he's like, no, power, come back, I take it back, I didn't need it, and he's freaking out. And it's just yeah, you reap what you sow. When you're putting out all that nastiness in terms of energy, it comes back to you. And the thing with my family, they don't really do inner work or shadow work. They don't like to look at themselves. They like to project it out onto other people, point fingers, and then say, you're to blame, and make themselves victims even if they're digging their own hole. So it's a whole thing. And it feels like there are more people who are willing to do the inner work now. There's an awakening in that, but there are still plenty of people who don't want to do the work, like the toxic group I escaped last year. And so people are having hard lessons come their way, and the universe is just going to keep giving them the lessons until they learn. And it's going to get louder and louder and louder until they actually listen, because there are plenty of people who don't want to listen. And I don't know if my brother is starting to pick up on the fact about how his choices and his energy matter, because he is the one who told me that he has no free will, that everything is already predestined, and that he is basically a puppet on strings and he can't be held responsible or accountable for what he does. And it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So be willing to do the shadow work. Be willing to do the inner work, because you are going to reap the benefits. It's going to be bountiful blessings if you do it. If you refuse to do it, there's going to be turbulence. There's going to be some harsh lessons, and it's not the universe, wanting to punish you, because it can feel like that at times, but no, it's tough love. It's no, you're not listening. It's sort of like a parent, trying to discipline and make sure their child has their best interests are and being taken care of. And it's a parent's not gonna let the child just eat a bunch of sugar and just be yeah, go ahead, just keep eating the sugar, make yourself sick. No, they're gonna have tough love. So these people are going to hopefully learn the lesson sooner rather than later, so they don't have to deal with all the intensity, but to each their own. You can only control how you choose to show up in the world. You can't control anybody else. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.